Have you ever closed a textbook after 3 hours of studying and realized your mind is completely blank? You were physically there, your eyes traced every single word, but your brain somehow absorbed absolutely nothing. You highlight sentences in bright neon colors, rewrite your notes meticulously, and even read them out loud. But the very second you step away from your desk, the information evaporates into thin air. It feels incredibly frustrating, and you probably blame yourself for being lazy or unfocused. Here is the brutal truth that your teachers completely failed to explain to you. You do not forget things because you are lazy or lack discipline. You forget because your brain saw absolutely no logical reason to keep that information. Your brain is not a passive filing cabinet designed to just store flat, boring facts. It is a dynamic, highly selective machine that only remembers vivid, meaningful experiences. If your study session feels repetitive, flat, and lifeless, your memory will treat it as garbage and delete it. Your brain simply does not care how many times you stare passively at a flashcard. It only cares about how deeply that information connects to what you already know or feel. Unless you completely change how you interact with your study material, you will continue falling behind. But that cycle of endless frustration officially stops right now. I am going to show you how to rescue your sluggish brain and study so fast it feels illegal. The core secret is shifting from passive repetition to aggressive, active rehearsal. Let us start with the first massive shift, which is the retrieval method. Most students study by staring at their open notes and hoping the information magically sticks. Reading your notes only trains your brain to recognize the material, not actually recall it under pressure. Recognition is a comforting illusion that shatters the moment you sit down for the actual exam. To actually learn, you must shut your books, put away your notes, and stare at a blank page. Ask yourself what you can genuinely remember right now without any outside help. The first time you do this, you will probably only remember 5% of the material. It will feel incredibly uncomfortable and deeply humbling, but that friction is exactly where real learning happens. Stop studying for comfort and start intentionally studying for conflict. Every single time your brain struggles to pull up a fact and corrects a mistake, a permanent neural pathway is forged. The second technique is called character fusion, and it will change everything. You easily remember the intricate plot lines of your favorite video games, but you instantly forget basic science formulas. This happens because your brain prioritizes information that feels personal and emotionally engaging. Stop trying to passively memorize dry, boring concepts from a dusty textbook. You must become the concept itself. If you are studying economics, do not just memorize the boring definition of supply and demand. Pretend you are the ruthless CEO of a massive sneaker brand controlling an exclusive, high-stakes product drop. When you actively roleplay as the concept, you stop studying and start running a mental simulation. This simulation locks the complex information directly into your brain's powerful identity center. It takes only 10 seconds of mental roleplay to leave a permanent trace in your memory. Make your study material dramatic, deeply personal, or even completely ridiculous. Memorizing random facts is exhausting work, but remembering something you actually simulated is entirely automatic. Now, even if you become the concept, you still need a way to organize the heavy details. This brings us to the third strategy, known as the chunk collapse method. Your brain was fundamentally never designed to hold entire chapters of dense, academic text. It was strictly built to recognize patterns and hold onto simplified, compressed handles. The harder you try to cram massive paragraphs into your head, the less you will actually retain. You need to collapse complex paragraphs into brutal, one-sentence summaries. If you cannot explain an entire page in one simple line, you do not understand it yet. Take those summaries and crush them down even further into punchy, two-word tags. For example, the complex Krebs cycle simply becomes the biological hamster wheel. These weird, funny tags act as mental handles for your brain to grab during a stressful test. When anxiety hits, you will not remember paragraphs, but you will instantly remember those bizarre handles. However, even the best techniques will utterly fail if your biological hardware is offline. This is why you must master the fourth technique, which is the physical sensory reset. You know that horrible moment when your eyes are scanning the page but your brain has completely checked out. You usually get frustrated, blame your lack of focus, and try to violently force yourself to pay attention. But your brain has not shut down because of laziness, it has shut down from severe cognitive overload. Your nervous system has quietly shifted into a sluggish energy conservation mode. You cannot motivate yourself out of this heavy, suffocating mental fog. You desperately need a sudden, shocking physical override to snap your nervous system back into the present moment. Get up immediately and splash freezing cold water directly onto your face. Walk completely barefoot outside for 2 minutes, or literally hang upside down off your bed. This is not some weird spiritual trick, it is a hardcore biological reset for your vagus nerve. The physical shock forces your body to wake up, and your sluggish brain is forced to follow instantly. Once your system is fully back online, you will study with crystal clarity instead of just grinding harder. Finally, we reach the fifth technique, which utilizes the ultimate memory anchor. Your brain evolved over millions of years to prioritize and trust the sound of your own voice above all else. If you want to study smarter, you need to stop silently reading and start recording yourself out loud. Open the voice recorder app on your phone right now. Casually explain your condensed study notes out loud as if you were talking to a very curious 5-year-old child. Layer some lo-fi background music or calm nature sounds underneath your spoken explanation. Now, simply play this customized audio track daily while you walk, clean your room, or brush your teeth. You do not even need to actively focus on memorizing the words. The underlying rhythm automatically bakes the complex information deep into your auditory cortex. When exam day finally arrives, your brain does not have to desperately search for the correct answers. It simply hits play on the internal audio track you created. The information will flow out of you effortlessly because you created a subconscious echo your brain cannot ignore. Studying effectively is not about suffering through endless, grueling hours of mindless repetition. It is entirely about hacking your biology and speaking the exact language your brain actually understands. You must force uncomfortable retrieval instead of relying on the illusion of passive recognition. You must fuse with the characters and concepts instead of remaining a bored, distant observer. You must collapse overwhelming chapters into tiny, weird handles your memory can easily grab. You must shock your nervous system awake the exact second you feel the mental fog creeping in. And you must leverage the incredible, trusted power of your own voice. Once you implement these hardcore neuroscience hacks, learning stops being a painful punishment. You will absorb massive amounts of complex information faster than you ever thought was humanly possible. Your peers will wonder how you manage to remember so much while studying so incredibly little. Stop fighting against your natural brain chemistry and start using it to your ultimate advantage. Throw away your useless neon highlighters and shut down those endless, repetitive flashcard apps. It is time to step up and entirely revolutionize the way you acquire new knowledge. Take control of your mind today. Your super fast, perfectly optimized study journey officially begins right now.